Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the football betting series here on YouTube, UEFA edition. A quick disclaimer before we get into the picks. The stats and form that I use in today's video are taken before the weekend's action. In order to get the video up in time, that's how I have to do things, so apologies for that. If you think I'm talking some sense, please like the video and subscribe to the channel down below. Without further ado, let's jump into the picks for the 13th, 14th, and 15th of February. We kick things off with Copenhagen versus Manchester City, and Copenhagen's domestic season is on pause, and it has been since early December. Now, they've played a couple of games in the Atlantic Cup against other Scandinavian sides, but apart from that, they're coming into this game pretty cold. The Danes reached this stage in the competition by finishing second in Group A, ahead of both Galatasaray and Manchester United. In the Champions League, Copenhagen have scored 1.25 goals per game from an XG of 1.26. Defensively, they've conceded 1.25 goals per game from an XG of 1.45, which is commendable. And therefore, Copenhagen's rewards for reaching the knockout stages is a tie with the current Champions League holders Manchester City. The Citizens have won all 6 Champions League group stage games and have not lost in the competition since May of 2022, when they were pipped by Real Madrid in the semi-finals. Manchester City scored a competition high of 18 goals in 6 group games, so that's 3 goals per game, from an XG of just 2.83, so they're overperforming in that regards. Defensively, they've conceded 1.16 goals per game from an XG of 0.55, so that does mean that their opponents have made their few chances count. These two sides played group stage matches last season, drawing 0-0 in Denmark the week after Man City scored 5 against Copenhagen in Manchester. With a tight league table at this stage in the season, I think City are going to look to go for the kill in leg 1 of this tie, a result which will allow them to rest and rotate for the second leg so they can focus on the Premiership as they cruise to the quarter-finals. Manchester City to win, full stake for me. Next up, also on the Tuesday, Red Bull Leipzig host Real Madrid. And Red Bull reached this round in the competition by finishing second in Group G, behind Manchester City but comfortably ahead of Young Boys in third. Leipzig have struggled for form of late. Despite winning their most recent game against a hapless Union Berlin side, this doesn't really move the needle much for me, and I'm more concerned about their 3-game losing streak following the domestic winter break in Germany. As such, Red Bull Leipzig have dropped to 5th place in the Bundesliga. Real Madrid are the visitors in this one, qualifying for the round of 16 tie by topping Group C with a perfect 6 wins, 0 draws and 0 loss record. They're unbeaten in each of their last 4 games in all competitions and unbeaten in 17 La Liga games. Head-to-head, Real Madrid managed to win last time these sides were drawn against each other, 4-3 on aggregate. They followed up a 2-0 win at the Bernabeu with a 3-2 loss in Germany, but it was enough for them to go through on aggregate. I'm leaning towards Real Madrid here at the odds of about 2.2 or 6-5. However, I'm going to be holding back slightly and backing them with a half stake, and there are 2 reasons for this. First of all, Red Bull Leipzig have shown that they can pull off results against Real Madrid in very recent history. Real Madrid play against Girona at the weekend, with the winner taking top spot in the league. It's not an easy game for Los Blancos, and fatigue could be a factor here, with them playing 2 key games for the season within a 72-hour window. However, I still like Real Madrid, but I'm going to temper things with a half stake. Moving on to the Europa League now, and there is one game that I like, as Braga hosts Karabag. Braga have dropped into the Europa League after finishing 3rd place in their Champions League group. Whilst they were ultimately outclassed by Real Madrid and Napoli, I think the Portuguese side gave a good account of themselves, scoring in 4 of their 6 games, netting 8 goals, but slightly underperforming their XG of 8.3. They did also concede 12 goals from an XG of 10, which could be a cause for concern, but I think mainly shows that Real Madrid and Napoli managed to take advantage of fewer chances. Form-wise, Braga are unbeaten in their last 5 games, with their most recent defeats coming away at Porto, so I think I can forgive them for that. The away side, Karabag, are currently streets ahead in their domestic league, a full 16 points clear of 2nd place at time of recording. To reach this round of the Europa League, they finished 2nd place in their group behind a perfect Bayer Leverkusen. However, I was not really impressed with their showing. They scored 7 goals in 6 games from an XG of 6.3. It's a less than stellar stat which ranks them 27th in Europa League creativity, behind even some teams that were eliminated from the competition. Head-to-head, there's no recent encounter to go off, but I'm expecting Braga to take control early in this one and win convincingly at home. Karabag have been coasting in their domestic league, and I'm not convinced they have what it takes to cope with their hosts. Braga to win in the first leg for a full stake for me. Moving on to the Conference League now, I have one selection there as well. Real Betis play host to Dinamo Zagreb. And Real Betis have dropped down to the third tier of European competitions by, well, frankly, bottling a really solid position in their Europa League group. Betis watched both Sparta Praha and Rangers overtake them following 1-0 and 3-2 defeats against those sides, respectively. However, with that behind them, Betis have gone into the transfer window and made some changes. They've sold their prolific striker Borja Iglesias to Bayer Leverkusen for £8 million and bolstered their squad with the additions of Shimi Avia from Osasuna and Pablo Fornals from West Ham. That means we're looking at a really exciting Betis side who features players like Guido Rodriguez, Paulo Fornals, Rui Silva, Nabil Fekir, Marc Roja, Juan Miranda, Isco, Hector Bellerin, Ayoze Perez, William Carvalho, Shimi Avia, and Cedric Bakambu, as well as others. It's just a fun side. The away side, Dinamo Zagreb, managed to finish second place in their group behind a perfect Victoria Pilsen. Zagreb come into this game on the back of 2 wins from 3 following the Croatian winter break, and will hope to improve on their current league position of third by the end of the season. However, in European competitions, their underlying numbers are not spectacular. They did score 10 goals from an XG of 8.5, which can show us one of two things. Either they've been playing against weaker defences, or they're wasteful with the chances they have created. And I would suggest that it's potentially both. Additionally, whilst conceding only 5 goals, this was enough for them to lose 3 games in the group stage and probably hints at a mental weakness. If Betis score first in this game, I'm not sure that Dinamo Zagreb have what it takes to come back. For those reasons, I'm going to be backing Real Betis. And although the price is quite attractive, I'm going to temper things with a half stake here. Betis's new side looks really exciting for sure, but the players will need to take some time to gel, and that gives me a bit of a cause for concern. Real Betis to win, but just a half stake. So there we have it. 4 selections in today's episode, starting off on the Tuesday with Copenhagen against Manchester City. We're going to be backing the away side, odds of 1.28, £30 stake to return £8.40. At the same time, we're going to be backing the away side Real Madrid in their game against Red Bull Leipzig, odds of 2.2, £15 stake to return 18. We're skipping out the Wednesday games and heading on to Thursday. In the Europa League, Braga to beat Karabag is the bet, odds of 1.4, £30 stake to return 12. And then in the Conference League, Real Betis to beat Dinamo Zagreb, odds of 1.76, a half stake of £15 to return £11.40. Across the midweek, we're going to be spending £90 to hopefully pick up as much as £49.80. Will we do so? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to tune into the next episode. But if you have made it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. And as always, have yourself a lovely day.